Okay, we got How Humans Ruin Dogs from The Dog Inspector. Okay, let me see.
Let's be honest.
The pugs.
This is not the product of evolution.
Ugh.
Have you ever wondered how this fierce, intelligent, and agile animal could have turned into this? A kind of toy for humans. And the worst part, what future awaits them in the next 200, 500, or 1,000 years?
Oh, Jesus. Bro, I've had so many friends that had a pug. They're all the same. Scrunched up faces, can't breathe, can't bark. Short little legs, can barely walk. They're fine. Well, they're not even fine. I was gonna say they were fine to like in their prime years, but like once they get past their prime, it just gets so exponentially worse. Especially if the person like doesn't like upkeep the dog and like keep him healthy, like bring him to the vet like regularly. Like their nails get well. There's like all dogs if they don't get taken care of, their nails like overgrown. Their toes start to turn because the nails are too long. Then their toes start to turn, which means their feet start to turn, and then their like little dog leg knees are like all fucked up and they can't walk right. Then their hips get fucked up, and it's like, oh god. Oh, like even normal dogs have it bad if they're not like kept upright. This thing is just starting off on like the worst. Like it's starting the race in the back of the pack.
It's time to dive deeper into this topic. This is a question that has been on my mind for many years. Why do certain species seem to evolve negatively? Or
Bull Terrier, 100 years. Negatively? I think negatively is like subjective. But I think for the most part, like most people have in their head, they have like a short list of like aggressive breeds of dogs. Oh, Cornell, there's no such thing as an aggressive breed of dog. There's only bad owners. I don't know what reality you're living in, but why is it whenever I watch Judge Judy, most of the time the dog in question, in the dog fight, at least one of the dogs is a pit bull or a Rottweiler or this thing, a bull terrier. Most of the time it's a pit bull.
Or rather, why has humanity influenced some species so negatively? As I've grown up, my love for animals and dogs in particular has led me to ask countless questions that I'll be sharing on this channel. But let's go back to the beginning. It all started in the Ice Age, although researchers don't agree on the exact moment or place. What is clear is that all modern dogs descend from a common ancestor, the gray wolf or Canis lupus, which has inhabited our planet for approximately 1 million years. An animal that earned its place in the evolutionary ladder after millions of years of changes and adaptations. Regarded as a great hunter, it developed a sharp sense of smell, excellent hearing over distances of more than 10 kilometers. Binocular vision with a 250-degree angle, and a system of communication through how...
My dumbass can only see like what? It's not even like a perfect 180. It's like a little bit like more narrow. It's like what, 170, 160 for like human vision. It's a little bit like in front still. Like biologically speaking. Wait. I was going to say like evolutionary. Is it the prey that have their eyes like kind of like on the sides of their head because they have to like be able to look around, but the predator animals have their eyes more like in front of them so they can like focus and like have like a pretty good like field of, what's it called, like depth of field?
Owls mainly used to attract the attention of its pack. not to mention its advanced teeth equipped to hold prey, tear, and cut meat. In short, a well-developed species, highly advanced in evolutionary terms, that we are lucky enough to still enjoy today. But certain individuals in remote areas went one step further. They timidly approached the fires lit by primitive humans for warmth, and it was there where everything changed. Their patience sometimes paid off, and they were rewarded with leftovers from that night's meal. Little by little, they became a faithful companion to humans until they became inseparable. That marked the beginning of a close relationship that would extend until today. But like everything touched by man, there would be consequences, and wolves were no exception. That relationship eventually led to the domestication of the wolf, bringing with it a new species, the Canis familiaris, or the common dog as we know it today, which appeared around 15,000 years ago. Humans began selecting the tamest individuals, resulting in animals with lower adrenaline.
Oh, look at that, they're so cute. Look at you, little puppy.
And melanin, which caused physical alterations like coat color, giving rise to the first breeds. Later, and through a somewhat primitive artificial selection, they were selecting
Was it really? Oh. Yeah, artificial is true. It's kind of crazy. Like, if everything came from, like, the great wolf, it's, like, insane to think that, like, this little thing came from a great wolf through a selective breeding.
specific traits that give rise to different breeds of dogs. This, combined with humans' continental migrations, left us with an incredible variety of dog breeds across all continents. The so-called domestication syndrome, different coats, different sizes, bodies, ears, and up to this point, everything seemed fine. But I've always found it super intriguing how it's possible that such a wide variety of breeds was created. In fact, it's much more pronounced than with humans. And this is where I want to get to.
Selective breeding. It's like you're just forcing dogs to have, like, offspring. And you're just taking advantage of, like, all animals being stupid and, like, animals just, well, whatever.
How does the pug even remotely resemble a golden retriever? I know
They're both dogs. That's about it. Everything else is just, like, so off-putting.
in terms of affection or as a pet, it doesn't matter much. But biologically, it's hard for me to understand how they share more than 90% of their genome. To me, it's like comparing an alien to a human. I'm serious. I don't think it's a coincidence that they chose it as one of the protagonists in Men in Black.
Just because something's important doesn't mean it's not very, very small.
How small?
How is it possible that in an effort to create a perfect breed, we ended up designing a fragile, comedic animal that suffers just by existing?
There are many ways to the top of the mountain. Not all of them are straight up.
It's this paradox that made me create this video and delve much deeper into the topic because I truly believe it's important that we all understand this. We already know all dogs come from wolves, right? Okay. But is it normal that there are dogs completely deformed standing next to their closest relative, the wolf?
Yep.
Absolutely not. Just by looking at the difference in skulls between wolves and pugs, we can already get an idea of the radical changes their biology has undergone. In fact, the internet is full of memes.
Product of evolution. Product of intelligent design.
Making this comparison because, although it might seem funny, it's really a reflection of how poorly we're evolving as a species. And I want to focus on the pug, not only because it's one of the oldest breeds, but because I believe it's one of the most mistreated and the best example of what I want to convey. Honestly, when I see one, I feel the same.
I think when people get a pug, they simply get it just because they like how it looks. I don't think they put all that extra baggage, like, in it, like, in their head of, like, oh, I'm supporting like selective breeding. I don't care that this animal has, like, breathing problems, health problems, so on and so forth. I think they're just getting it simply for their own self fulfillment, and that's it.
way I do when I see a small dog. I like to pet it, and I even find it cute, but at the same time, I must admit, it makes me suffer. Later on, you'll understand what I mean. Let's go back to the era of domestication.
If you actually think about it in terms of like a business or like a product and a pug, like yes, it's an animal, it's a living thing, and with that comes all the like human attachments to like a living thing. But if you think about it in terms of like just a product, like what happens when people just stop wanting your product? Well, stop making the product. But since that's not the case, people are still going to continue to breed pugs.
Apparently, in the Asian region, specifically in China, there are ancient documents that indicate that in the time of Confucius, around 700 BC, there were short-snouted dogs. In fact, they were considered imperial property, just like pearls and jade. Emperor Ling liked them so much that he gave them titles, and female dogs were given the same status as his wives. This obsession with specific traits in dogs led to breeding with the sole purpose of creating and perfecting breeds, but it also caused a crane.
But who decides what's like the perfect breed? And by what standards? Like how did that go?
Deformation, giving rise to the three types of skulls found in dogs today: dolichocephalic, mesocephalic, and brachycephalic.
Okay.
Like the pug or bulldog, undoubtedly the most affected. But we've
Oof.
heard this story before, haven't we? In Europe, royal families like the Habsburgs only married their cousins to keep the power in the family.
Oh yeah, that's so weird, dude. Like I can't believe it. And the whole cousin thing, if you don't think that this is still around today, you got another thing coming. It may not be like within the family, it may not be the cousin. It's just some other company with a family behind it, with another company and a family behind it, and be like, oh, our companies are pretty similar in size. Let's keep all this under our two families. So it's incest light. It's diet incest.
And because of that, they turned out horrible. Since they had no other genes to mix with, their genetic defects became more and more pronounced until Carlos II of Spain was born, one of the
Jesus.
most radical victims of inbreeding and repeated crosses between close relatives.
Oh my God.
This man was born with a mouth so twisted he couldn't even swallow, had rickets, was lame, suffered from epilepsy, and barely lived to 35. Well, exactly the same thing happened to purebred dogs, especially the oldest ones like the pug or bulldog. Each generation has more defects and less health. All of this was accentuated after the British invasion of China in 1860, when pugs were found in the Chinese imperial palace and brought back to England. Queen Victoria became fond of the breed and played an active role in their breeding, which led to even more deformation. In barely 200 years, they went from having short snouts and relatively athletic bodies to having squashed faces and being stocky and deformed. So, yes, we can say that this obsession with perfecting
What
breeds
the
and
fuck? Oh my God. They're just like holding them there. It's like, okay. Okay, Spot, do your thing.
traits comes from the Victorian era, where this practice spread and became the lucrative business of purebred dog breeders that we all know today. And while nowadays there's a lot more caution, and we try not to mix such close relatives, the problems of excessive artificial selection are still there. In fact,
How do you like that if you own a pug? Like, oh, my pug doesn't have breathing problems. Not yet. Like, look at this. Airflow obstructed. But he's so cute. Look.
fact, all brachycephalic dogs like pugs, English, and French bulldogs or boxers are much more prone to serious diseases. Remember Carlos II? Well, the same thing happens to them. Their skull is so flat they can barely breathe, which is why they
Jesus.
spend much of their time snorting and coughing. But those are just a few of their problems. The list is endless. On average, pugs have 54 times more likelihood of developing brachycephalic obstructive airway syndrome.
So this thing will get obstructive airway syndrome. It's only a matter of when.
51 times more likelihood of having narrow nostrils. 13 times more likelihood of suffering from corneal ulcers. 11 times more
Why would you want to own this thing? Like, are you kidding me, dude?
likelihood of having skin fold dermatitis. 2.5 times more
Every pug that I have seen that my friends had, they have had all of this.
likelihood of becoming obese. And 2 times more likelihood of having overgrown nails.
Yeah, why is
As you
that?
can see, it's an animal born to suffer, and honestly, I don't think even 10% of people who buy a dog like this know they can have all these problems.
Yeah.
And while
Yeah, I don't think most people will realize that. But like, I would have to think if you're like looking for a dog, wouldn't you do like some sort of like modicum of research behind like some basic stuff of like what happens to the dog?
it's clear that all purebred dogs, no matter which, are more prone to disease than a mutt, with malformations like hip dysplasia, elbow luxation, or a shorter life expectancy. These issues are always associated with purebred dogs, but without a doubt, brachycephalic dogs are the ones who suffer the most.
Bro, I feel so bad for like pug breeders. They have got to be like the Dr. Evil of the dog breeding world.
Honestly,
Why are you attacking my business?
as a dog lover, I don't think there's anything better than walking with your dog, being able to play with them, run, and enjoy their healthy life. But people who choose these kinds of breeds, what are they really looking for? Do they want something funny? A doll? These dogs
Yes.
can barely walk because they suffocate and can hardly see. Think about it. We've gone from having a companion we hunted with to degrading them into a toy we admire, dress up, carry in a purse, a backpack, or even sometimes in a baby stroller.
I mean, shit, if you can get your dog to get like 500,000 followers on it, maybe you too can have a crazy neighbor like try to call animal removal because you're jealous, because they're just jealous that your little pug has more Instagram followers than they themselves. I mean, if you can make like money off your little pug, I mean, great, do it.
But yes, in today's society, we think pets are just that. Where did the wolf's incredible attributes go? That vision, sense of smell, snout, agility, intelligence. Or without being too
It's been bred out. Yeah, they still exist, but that's like super rare. For the most part, it's just been bred out.
strict, where are the natural abilities of a normal dog compared to a dog designed through genetic manipulation like the pug? The wolf was the evolutionary product of millions of years, adaptive changes that formed an exemplary animal, and we, in just a few thousand years, are destroying all that evolution. And let me be clear, I have nothing against pugs because they are not to blame. It's the owners who I believe aren't aware that they're encouraging animals to suffer throughout their short lives.
Yeah.
And this is where I want to make you think.
Yeah, stop buying pugs. You're only supporting the pug breeders. Just stop, please. Save yourself, save the pug. Yeah.
believe we need to reconsider how we treat animals because at this rate, what does the future hold for them? I'll leave you with that thought. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Huh. has a very insightful pug video. Um, yeah, man. I mean, bro, anytime I've like seen a friend or something with a pug, it's never like I think my sister actually has a like a pug, and I'm just like, why? The thing suffers. She's like, no, it doesn't. I'm like, yes, it does, or at least it will in like 5 or 10 years. Jesus. Ugh. Okay. Overall, cool video, dude. Um. Uh. Very good video from this person. I like it. Uh. Yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I'll catch you guys on the next one. All right, later.